Chapter 10 opens up and Zaxis and Adelgis have this moment where Zaxis doesn't really know what Adelgis' last name even is.
As they're walking up to Adelgis' house, like his last name is written all over, on the property, and he's like Venrover. Who's Venrover? And it's like, how do you not know his last name? Come on, you've been training with each other for over a year, like a year and a half at this point, probably closer to 2, and you don't know his last name. Like, I'm sure there's people you work with that you know their last name within the first 10 days.
It's baffling to say the least. And Zaxis quotes that Adelgis doesn't even know his name, and Adelgis is a scholar and is readily available to provide the answer. So Zaxis is left sitting in his own puddle of mud there. We come to find out that Zelfree actually used to work with Thiessen, who's Adelgis' dad, and that's really the reason that Adelgis wanted to study under Zelfree, is because of the relationship that they had.
This is kind of disturbing that Adelgis is just so afraid to disturb his father while he's working. Like, he is dead set, please, if there's anything you do, can you please not disturb him while he's working?
Instead of that, they end up disturbing his mom, and his mom is a Minerva Owl Arcanist, and their relationship is almost confrontational. There's no affection between them. Adelgis asks about his sister, and this is really the only time that he seems to have a true interest in the well-being of his family, is being concerned with what is going on with his sister. And it turns out that Zelfree also knows Adelgis' mom, and surprise, surprise, is not a fan of her either. They get into their own confrontation, and Zelfree brings up the leech and the incubation, and she responds that it has nothing to do with him and isn't of his concern, even though it's having an impact on Adelgis. And we find out that Zelfree actually killed the other Leech Arcanist because of the negative impact that they were having, and that the Leech that Adelgis is incubating is the last remaining one, and one that was supposed to have been killed but was somehow saved. The confrontation between Zelfree and Adelgis' mom escalates. He ends up grabbing her. She uses her magic and creates a gust of wind and then kicks them out. And Zelfree has lost any kind-heartedness that she ever had for him again. So a very, very confrontational chapter, and there's a lot of insight into the workings of Adelgis' family and the upbringing and connection that they have with each other.
I will have to say, though, this is a very abrupt ending to this chapter. Even when I was reading through the chapter, I kept reading. I flipped immediately to chapter 11, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got to stop. Can't add that into this. This is not the right chapter now.
Stay tuned.
Right. And with that concludes this week's episode. You can find us on Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. We are also on YouTube. And if you want to join in on the fun, you can find us on the Facebook group at Frith Guild Podcast. And if you want to reach out to us, you can contact us at frithguildpod@gmail.com. Or send us a message on Facebook or comment on Facebook. In addition to all of that, we're going to also put all of the links to everything down below, including the Frith Chronicles fandom. And we want to give a huge shout out to them, as we do look up a lot of our information for mystical creatures in there. And I know here with the soon release of the Kickstarter for the bestiary that Shaming Stovall is putting out, I know some information will be updated shortly, so just got to keep an eye on that. Thank you for listening. Scott, did you have anything else to add?
Excited to get to the tourney. We're making our way to the tourney, and I'm very excited for it.
Woo. All right. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.